Hello everybody, today I'm going to show you how to use AI to intelligently label your emails. This is a huge step up over using the built-in filtering in Gmail because the AI can actually understand the email content. So, this is the flow we're going to be building today. This workflow is triggered when a new email is received in my Gmail inbox. It starts by creating a prompt for the AI using the subject line and the email content. Next, it classifies the email as one of several categories. Finally, it applies the correct label based on the matched category. I have this set up to look for two categories: receipts or similar things I might need to track for my tax returns, and newsletters. You can expand this to add as many categories as you'd like. Okay, let's see this in action. I've set up another workflow to automatically forward me a couple test emails. So I'll run that and then refresh my inbox here, and as I refresh we'll see the other emails come in and see the labels get added to them as our workflow runs. So boom, you can see here we got 3 different emails. One that didn't fit into any of the categories, another that fit into the newsletter category, and another that fit into the tax return category. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to build this. So start out by creating a workflow, adding the email received trigger, and selecting your Google account. We'll hit save here and enable the workflow. Now this will run anytime we receive an email. Okay, we're going to start by creating a prompt for the AI. So I'll start out with putting my template in a text action here. This is just going to insert the subject and the email content. Then we'll go ahead and add a template action here and plug that template in, and then add the substitutions for our subject and content. Then from our trigger data, we'll go ahead and plug in the subject and the plain text content. Now to step this up a notch, we can go ahead and add in a fallback action. What this does is it tries out the first value, and if it's empty, then it uses the second value. So sometimes emails don't have a plain text version, they only have an HTML version. So if that's the case, then we'll use the HTML version, but the plain text version should be sufficient for most cases. Nice, so next up, we're going to classify the content type. We're going to do that with the classify text action using OpenAI, and we'll hop in and select our OpenAI account. I only have one in here, and GPT-4o Mini is going to be plenty for this task. For the text, we'll go ahead and plug in the result of our template, and for the categories, we'll add in 3 categories. I'll start with other, so that way it knows that some emails won't fit into any category. Then I'll go ahead and add my tax return category, and finally my newsletter category. The output of this is going to be the category that we plugged in here. So we want to see if it equals either of these categories. So we'll go in and add an equals action here and plug in the category and connect our first category, and then we'll do the same thing with another equals action with our second category. And so now we'll get 2 true or false values indicating whether it matched the first category or the second category. Okay, and finally we're going to apply the matching label. So we'll start by grabbing the add label action from the Gmail package, and we'll make 2 of them. We'll go ahead and add a conditional modifier and plug in the true false values that we just calculated from our last step. Next, we'll add some text that matches the label that we have in Gmail. So for me, I've called it tax return and newsletters. Okay, the last thing we need is the message ID of the original email that triggered this workflow. So we can add a trigger data action over here and pull the message ID and plug that into both of our add label actions. And now we're done. Let's say I wanted to add a new category here. All I would have to do is select one of these lines, duplicate it, drag it down, connect up the dangling inputs here, and then change the category. So maybe I'll make this banking info, and I'll call my label banking. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to build this yourself, go to WorkflowDog to get started.